Hello and welcome back to a special episode of First and 10 Minute Sports. Today I'm here with Alex Parsons, and he played in the NFL for 5 years as a center for the Raiders and the Browns. Alex, why don't you tell us a little bit of your life story?
So I started football when I was 7. I played Pop Warner, or it was actually Junior All-American in Irvine, California. I started as an Irvine Charger. I played from 7 to about 10, then I got too big. And from that point, I didn't want to go up 2 grades and play with two years older, so I decided just to quit and play other sports. Played baseball, basketball, played hockey when I was much younger. Never played soccer, couldn't understand it, too much running. And then I got to high school, and my brother's 4 years older than me. So when I got to high school as a freshman, he was leaving as a senior. And I saw all of his records at the school. So a lot of his lifting records and things like that. So
That's cool.
originally my goal was, all right, how do I beat all of his records? How do I kind of wipe him out of the record books? Played freshman year, and a funny story is my freshman year, our first game was in Hawaii.
Oh,
So I was playing right tackle, and the day before the game, they told me I was going to play left tackle. So I ended up playing left tackle my first game as a sophomore on varsity, and then switched to defense my junior year.
okay.
So I went from left tackle to middle linebacker. So 6'5", 240, 250-pound linebacker.
Wow.
A little bit bigger than everybody else.
Yeah.
And then ultimately, after my sophomore year was the first time I got any kind of interest from college, and it was kind of one of those questionnaires. Everybody sends out questionnaires to anybody who is coming out or getting close to that. So filled out those, and which was fun. It was Oregon and Colorado were the first 2 schools
That's cool.
to send interest, and then senior year comes around. I'm still playing linebacker, and going into senior year, I decided to go to a couple different camps. So I went to, at that point, it was the Nike Invitational. It was out of LA. So I went to that camp as a nobody and ended up becoming one of the top players of that camp.
Wow.
Then I went to a linebacker camp at UCLA that same off season. And first half of camp I did it. Second half of camp they said I'm going to sit out, and they brought their defensive line coach in to work me out. And then about 3/4 of the way through, they're like, "Hey, you're not going to play anymore. We're going to hold you out." So at that point, I wasn't sure what was going to happen. And then come to find out, they offered me a scholarship that day. So that was my first scholarship with UCLA.
Oh, nice.
Then I went to a USC camp, and same thing. I was told to sit out half the day.
Wow.
And then they offered me at that camp. And then after that, kind of the offers kept rolling in. I ended up doing pretty well my senior year. My team was not very good. We were 2-8, I think. I think the best year I had was 4-5-1.
Okay.
So we were terrible, to say the least.
Not that good.
No, never made the playoffs, never did anything. And then ultimately I got an offer to go to, at that point it was the California-Florida Bowl, so it's the California Bowl.
Yeah.
That's now the Under Armour Bowl or something like that. But so it was the All-Stars of California versus the All-Stars of Florida.
That's cool.
And the whole time I was basically told that I didn't belong there because I was such a nobody.
Wow.
And then I ended up winning the defensive MVP of that game in a losing effort. I think we lost 20-0 in a game in California that it rained the entire game, and it never rains in California.
Yeah.
So it was a mud bowl. And I mean, and the game you couldn't, they didn't play the hashes, so everything went to the center of the field.
Yeah.
So everything was like 6 inches of mud.
That's crazy.
And it was terrible, but I ended up getting 2 sacks and fumble recovery and some stuff like that, where
Good.
some of the guys on the other team were CJ Spiller and Tim Tebow were the quarterbacks.
That's
So
cool. Crazy. So you got 2 sacks on Tim Tebow.
2 sacks against Tim Tebow and the best Florida offensive line. So that was fun.
That is a feat for sure, right there.
So and then I ended up taking a couple recruiting trips. I went to Arizona first.
Okay.
So with the Wildcats first, and it was amazing. They had signs and everything for all the recruits that were out there. And then I went to the University of Kentucky, where my brother was playing his senior game. So I got to watch him for his very last game against Tennessee. And then finally I went to USC. And after USC, I remember going to the hotel room, talking to my mom, and then we made the decision that USC was the destination for me.
That's cool.
That was the place where I could get the best education I could get, and if I never played a down of football, I would love it. And that was the biggest, that was my decision on how I chose USC, was education. And it was always, even from Pop Warner and Junior All-American to college or high school, it was, how do I get my education paid for free so my mom doesn't have to?
Like, were you raised by a single mom?
I was. So yeah, we couldn't afford it. So my mom worked all summer long. She shipped us back east to work all summer long, 24 hours a day, just to be able to not miss a single game for us. So from both my brother, who's 4 years older than me, from my brother and I, our entire Junior All-American, Pop Warner to college career, she never missed a game.
That is crazy.
So I'd play Friday night. She would go red eye back east to watch my brother play at Kentucky.
Wow, that is insane.
So yeah, that was the goal of, hey, let's get some free education out of this. And it ultimately was, I remember getting my first offer at UCLA and begging her to commit because I didn't want to go through anything else. I didn't think anybody else would recruit me. I thought I was done for. And she told me to be patient, and that was a test of patience for sure.
Wise advice right there for sure.
She's very wise. She still gives me some advice every once in a while.
That's good, yeah.
So then ultimately at USC, I came in as a defensive lineman. I spent a year and a half as a defensive lineman. 3 days into training camp, basically my sophomore year, they basically told me that I was going to play offensive line.
Oh.
So sophomore year, I played offensive line, and I was on the kickoff return team for my entire career at USC.
That's cool.
Freshman through senior. And then I didn't get my opportunity to start at USC until my junior year. Ended up winning a Rose Bowl my sophomore year, my freshman year against Michigan, my sophomore year against Illinois, and I started the Penn State game. We played Penn State. So we beat them pretty handedly.
That's good.
And then my senior year, I ended up getting hurt the first game. Come to find out, I actually tore my meniscus. So I played a full year on a torn meniscus.
Wow.
We played Boston College in the Emerald Bowl. I kind of sat out that game. I didn't play much in it. And I kind of thought my career was done at that point.
Yeah.
I remember being downstairs in Student Academic Services for Athletes, and going through and trying to get some LSAT information, because I was going to go to LSAT and I was going to go to law school. And I got an email from the NFL inviting me to the Indianapolis Combine.
That's crazy.
So, again, never thought I'd play football again, but it was entertaining to do that, and I thought I might as well give it a shot.
Yeah.
And then come to find out that I went undrafted out of all those players. I was one of the first undrafted guys.
That's good.
It was between Minnesota and Oakland at the time, and I ended up going to Oakland just for the opportunity.
Cool.
And I had to earn it. I came as an undrafted free agent. They had drafted 2 offensive linemen that year. And they continually drafted offensive linemen. So I had to earn it. I was a practice squad guy the first year, after only playing 3 plays in the second preseason game, which is normally you would get cut if you don't play that many games, but that many plays. But I was offered a practice squad position, so I was there for that year. Second year, our coach got fired, so we had to start all over. So I was a practice squad again that year.
Okay.
We were 8-8 again. Third year, that was the year that I was actually on the team. I started the first game. So my first ever start in the NFL was week 1, Monday Night Football, second game in the Coliseum with the Black Hole at night.
That is, the vibes are high.
It was awesome.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And that was fun. And then I played a couple reserve games that year, and then ended up the following year having a guy fall on my leg and break my ankle. So that was, there took some recovery on that one. So I basically sat out that following year. I had a couple tryouts and different things like that, and then ultimately I tried it one more year. I went back, got a couple of workouts, ended up getting a workout with the Cleveland Browns. So I was there for training camp with Johnny Manziel was the quarterback that year, which was another Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah.
Ended up not working out there. Got signed by the New Orleans Saints for a little while. And then finally just deciding that it wasn't for me anymore and retiring and walking out on my own terms. So I ended up playing 5 years total. I am a vested player, which is a big thing considering that the league average is about 2.5 years in the NFL. And so I have something as an undrafted guy that I had a longer career than most of the guys that got drafted with me. Which
That's
is kind
cool.
of cool.
Yeah. So what is it like being a Christian in the NFL?
I will say that I wouldn't consider myself a Christian prior to my last year. I was probably a professing one, but I wasn't somebody who read the Bible a lot. I think one of the most instrumental people in my life was a teammate of mine in college who kept chasing after me.
Really?
Even now we're still good friends. So even all of our families
cool.
are good friends. I got hurt that year, broke my leg, and he gave me a Bible, and it was an FCA competitor's Bible, and it had daily devotionals on it. And the biggest thing for me was I was kind of lost one day, and I picked it up, and the passage that was the daily devotional was Road to Emmaus, of the two guys walking down the road, and Jesus comes up beside them, and their heads are down and not paying attention. And finally they got to their destination and pulled their head up, and they recognized who he was. And I read that as, you've heard, now look up and believe. So that was the thing. And then I went into my 5th year, and it was totally different. I didn't necessarily care about what was going on. I wasn't any of that stuff. So at that point, I felt comfort of not doing it anymore. I've seen guys that are professing and that are absolutely fantastic, that are still out there and still playing. A lot of times you kind of see the opposite, or you witness the opposite in the news, but there are guys out there that are in the league that are professing, that are great moral models for sure.
Thank you for watching my special episode of First and 10 Minute Sports. That's all for this week. I'm Asher. Stay low, hit hard, and God bless.